Loveland Magazine TV videos are brought to you by the generous support of MoveToLoveland.com.
So, Jim, do you mind coming up the podium? So, those of you who have sort of followed what is getting ready to be a pretty big transformation to the Loveland Madeira Road corridor. One of the renderings we always use, even though it's a much bigger project than that, is the roundabout that'll be at Valley View. And part of the plans on that roundabout, there will be a dedicated street that will go through what was the Brogan property, another property that the city purchased, 501. That created access point. The city's Chestnut Street property previously had no access to Loveland Madeira Road, so along with cleaning it up. So with that, there is a full designated street. And I got a call from Jim Grethel with Loveland Museum Center, who out of the blue just said, "Hey, I have an idea for you." So obviously I don't know if I've ever actually come up with a good idea. So Jim came up with this idea. He said, you know what a really neat naming of that roadway would be is William Cobb Way. And it made a lot of sense for a lot of reasons that Jim will tell you about. So we worked with Choice One Engineers to get a little bit better rendering. Peter Sexton donated his time to help the city with what our new signage would be. So this would be done via an ordinance. It's how the city has always done this, but it's really exciting. And I just can't thank Jim enough for coming up with this idea. I would have never come up with this. So I asked him if he could come tonight. And do you want to add, Jim, whatever you could add? Again, we really appreciate you coming up with it.
State my name and address and all that good stuff. Oh, good. Many years ago in Loveland, a small grocery store stood on the edge of town, or what was then the edge of town, where the post office is located today. And the store was owned by a William Cobb. And he began his business by selling home-cooked pies and fish door to door. And his grocery store was the only grocery store in West Loveland for many years. And local kids would buy candy and even get a hamburger that Bill would cook on the same stove that is now proudly displayed at the Loveland Museum Center near his portrait. A 1988 article in the Cincinnati Enquirer reads as follows: William Cobb never sought fancy titles or recognition, but for more than a half century, Cobb, or Uncle Bill, as he was commonly known, was the chief benefactor of his native Loveland. When the grocer learned that a resident was in danger of losing his home, he quietly stepped in and brought the mortgage payments up to date. For those who couldn't afford to heat their homes, Cobb had coal delivered anonymously. And when businessmen ran into hard times, he provided financial assistance. But most knew him through the business he and his wife Mary operated for more than 50 years, a combination grocery, tavern, pool hall, and gas station. In some cases, 3 generations of family received his help, according to Loveland City Councilwoman Catherine Sidney. So I've spoken with a lot of locals over the last several months about William Cobb, and those who knew him, every single one of them mentioned what a good man he was and how he befriended hundreds of people over the years, especially the young people. He sponsored numerous local Little League teams, and many people regarded him as the unofficial mayor of West Loveland. He was a local businessman, humanitarian, and philanthropist, and I believe this ordinance provides a more permanent recognition that William Cobb certainly deserves, the naming of the street. So I can answer any questions if any of you have any.
What you might have said it. What was the time frame that he had his grocery store?
Well, his family supposedly arrived in Loveland as far back as 1856. He passed away in 1967. I believe he was born in 1891. So his store, I believe he opened it in the early 20s, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
Okay, and there was a plaque and a tree to him.
In 1988, they planted a blue spruce in front of the post office, and the council dedicated it. And then at some point, a plaque was added, but unfortunately, the blue spruce didn't make it. So, like I mentioned here, I think this is again, a more permanent recognition that is well deserved.
Anybody have any questions? Thank you, Mr. Grethel. Appreciate your
Thank
taking
you.
time. You're excused now. All right. Does anybody have anything they want to add regarding this? Mr. Bateman?
Just gratitude to the Museum Center and to Mr. Kennedy for listening to the ideas of the community. I think that this is truly a great honor and well deserved. And I was driving through this evening, and that's going to be, when that gets put in, that'll be one of the first sort of gateway intersections as you come into West Loveland, into the city of Loveland, where it goes from the suburbs to the community, to the city limits, sort of unofficial, right? The downtown area, so to speak. So I think this is going to be a great honor, and I look forward to any outreach we might be able to do to any family members that we end up doing an actual dedication when this comes online. So hopefully we can work with the museum and work to try to organize that to really bring it in, with gusto.
Thank you. Mr. Ori?
Yep. Same sentiments. I appreciate you doing this, Jim. I can tell you, as a lifelong resident of Loveland, I passed many of pop bottles and nickels and a lot of candy bars from him. So I think it's a great idea.
Any further comment? All right, this is a first reading only. I'll go ahead and read the ordinance.
Ordinance approving the naming of a roadway as William Cobb Way.
Thank you. All right, thank you, Grethel. Appreciate it.
Loveland Magazine TV videos are brought to you by the generous support of MoveToLoveland.com.